Welcome to Improv for the Podcast. On this week's episode, we'll hear from Liam Clancy about his improvisational journey and how it improved his life. Plus, we'll play some awesome games. Let's hit it. Welcome to Improv for the Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Lee Evans, and today we're here with Liam Clancy. Thank you for coming on the show. How are you doing today, Liam?
Good. I'm doing well. It's a Tuesday, and that's one of my 7 favorite days. So.
Wow. Top 7.
Top 7, yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Could you rank for me right now your top 7 days of the week?
Oh, yeah. It goes Friday, Saturday, Thursday, Tuesday, Monday, Wednesday, Sunday.
I agree. Those are, out of the 7 days you listed, those are 7 I would also list. All right, so Liam is joining us today. He is a member of the Improv for the People community. Hence, he is on the Improv for the Podcast here today. And we're very excited. Liam is an incredible improviser, such a talented sketch writer, and a master of some really fun characters. And we're going to talk about that a little bit today. Now, before we jump in, Liam, we're going to play a little bit of a game just to get things rolling.
Okay.
Now, tell me, Liam, have you ever played the game 3 Things?
Yes, but I've played it outside of IFTP.
Okay.
So I don't. There might be slightly different rules or.
Okay. Well, luckily, the version we're playing today is called 3 Things, but it's personal because it's going to get personal to you.
Oh.
Your answers are going to have to be, related to your own life. So that's what we're going to get into. So for those of you at home or on an airplane or folding your laundry or wherever you may be, if you're not familiar with the 3 Things game, how it works is that I'm going to give Liam a category off the top of my head. Actually, it's pre-planned. And he's going to have to list 3 things. But all the categories are personal, related to Liam's life. So that's the interesting part. We get to learn a little bit about Liam in a fun, rapid-fire way. All right, Liam, any questions before we begin?
Nope.
All right, so just as the traditional format, I'll say the category. I'll be like, these are 3 things. I'll say your category, and then I'll just number them off as you go, okay? All right, and we're just going to go back to back to back, probably 3 categories, and then we'll end it there. All right, here we go. These are 3 things. Your favorite drinks.
Diet Coke.
1.
Diet Dr. Pepper.
2.
And Diet Dr. Pepper cream soda. It's a new one.
3. A lot of diets. All right. Perform 3 accents or characters you like to perform.
It's me. I'm just an Irishman. But that's more Cockney now, I guess.
1-ish.
My name is Pierre. I am French, and I surrender easily.
Oh, that's 2.
And I'll guess it was a Tuesday like every other Tuesday. There was a smoke in the air and a flim-flam on the bridge.
3. These are 3 things. Last category. Funniest people you personally know.
My aunt, who is technically my second cousin, but it's my dad's first cousin. She lives in Ireland. She's so funny.
1.
My grandpa, he is also hilarious. And then my friend Cam.
2. 3. Yeah. Oh, man, I got so lost in the story there, I forgot to count. These are 3 things. Nice job, Liam. Thank you for jumping in. I really, threw you kind of a fastball there with the characters, and I knew you would nail it, and you did. So I knew it in my heart. All right, so I'm going to ask you a couple questions. All right, that first one, you told me 3 different diet sodas. Mm-hmm. And, I am intrigued by that last one. It was a Dr. Pepper cream soda?
Yeah, Dr. Pepper now has like a whole bunch of different flavors. Actually, it's actually not Dr. Pepper. It's not Diet Dr. Pepper. It's technically Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar.
Oh.
Cream soda.
Okay.
A lot of labels in the title.
Yes. Does it still have 23 flavors or just the 1?
That's a good question.
Okay. Yeah, just curious. Okay, interesting.
I think it's actually just cream soda flavored, made by Dr. Pepper.
I see. They're getting in the cream soda market up against other cream soda favorites, A&W, I guess. That's the only other one I can name.
Yeah.
Okay, good to know.
Blue Moxie. Have you ever Blue Moxie?
I'm not familiar.
That's a really good cream soda.
Is it
Jones? Jones has a good cream soda.
Jones Soda Company.
Yeah. And it was clear. It was like the cream soda one's clear.
You're right.
Yeah.
That's some classy soda, that Jones soda.
They used to have it at Starbucks. That was like my
Really?
Yeah, long time ago.
Oh man. Well, that's a shame because they don't have it anymore.
They don't have it anymore.
I don't know what happened to Jones, but I hope he's all right. Rest in peace. We miss you, buddy. Anyway, So thank you for telling me about those sodas. Those 3 different accents and characters, you started off with that Irish character, kind of slipped into a Cockney a little bit. Those are difficult tightrope accents. That's how I describe them. Cause they're all friendly. They're all regionally, close to one another. So I love it. I love that character. The second one, Pierre, that was a fun one. French accents, I struggle with French accents, so I have much respect for someone who can pull it off. And I got to admit, that last character, yours, personal favorite of mine. A big fan of your detective.
Yeah. Well, that's like a recurring character, I guess.
Yeah.
He's a little, yeah.
Does he have an official name?
Yeah, he has a name. His name's Peter Price.
Oh my gosh.
There's a backstory, like where that character came from.
Oh,
if
please.
You're curious.
Yes, I am so curious.
Yeah, so
I love Peter Price.
Like my college, senior year of college, I was getting like very bored of going to parties, and this group I was in at USC was basically just had a bunch of parties. It wasn't technically a frat, but effectively it was the same thing.
Okay.
But so I got tired of going to parties there, so I was like, I'm just going to start going in character. So I went to the Goodwill that was like a block by my apartment, and I bought that trench coat, and then I just went as a detective to every party for the rest of the year.
I love it.
And I locked into it. And it was the best part were the people that didn't get it. It's like some people got okay, he's doing a bit, but some people were just confused, and it was fun.
Oh, that's so sad for those people who were confused.
And then over the course of those parties where I kind of found the backstory of that character that then I wrote into the sketch too.
Yeah. So to preface, Liam and I worked on a sketch show together. He wrote this amazing sketch where he played this 1940s detective stuck in modern times. And that was Peter Price, of course, character that is hilarious. And Liam just has the nuance of this character so down. It's incredible. Y'all missed out if you didn't see it. So with that said, thank you for sharing. All right. That last question, some 3 funny people in your life. Let's talk about, you said, your aunt, who is your dad's first cousin, so technically your second cousin, correct?
Yes.
And she lives in Ireland.
Yes.
All right. Ireland. Where does she live in Ireland?
She lives in Cork.
Cork.
My grandparents are from Ireland. So
Got
that's how my dad is like a first generation person. You know?
Wow. Okay.
And
that's
then,
awesome.
so I have Irish dual citizenship. We go back and forth all the time. But yeah, she's one of the funniest people I've ever met in my entire life. You can just sit and listen to her tell stories for hours on end.
Yeah.
It's so much fun.
I have an uncle like that, but he's not Irish at all. And he's just mono citizenship. So. But I mean, my family's from Scotland, so I don't know if we might have some, historical beef going on.
No, I don't think so. Well, I think we just both hate the English.
That's
true.
That's kind of true. Yeah, actually, we're allies.
Yeah, we're kind of, yeah.
Okay, well, that's good. That's good. But yeah, I think they popped on over late 1800s because I'm not really sure. They were tired, I guess. They wanted a new start. But really cool. Thank you for sharing your aunt in Ireland. Best storyteller. That feels like, I think everyone's got a family member who's like an exceptional storyteller.
Yeah.
And I just, no matter what you do, it's like, is that going to be me one day? Maybe not. All right. Liam, are you ready to jump into our improv interview?
Let's jump on in.
All right.
Let's splish splash a little feetsies in.
You got your floaties?
I got my floaties.
Okay, good. I got mine as well. My water wings, good to go. All right. So Liam, I want to ask, a couple questions to get it into, what improv means to you, how you got started in improv. So let's start with that. What's the first time you were exposed to, not necessarily, did a class, but just the first time you learned about improv, knew what it was?
I was probably in 6th grade, and my older brother got onto an improv troupe at the high school that he went to, that I also eventually went to.
Oh, okay.
So I knew that he was on this improv troupe. So yeah, that's kind of my first exposure. And then I went to that same high school, and our high school had a radio station. It was sick. We had an actual AM radio station.
That's amazing.
In my high school. And we did a whole podcasting thing there too. And then, the head of the student radio organization was also the head of the improv organization, improv team in my high school. So then after my sophomore year, I got a what's it called? Radio show with my cousin. Wow. And we did that. And then the head of the improv troupe was like, hey, you should audition for our improv troupe. And I did that. And then that's how I started. And the improv troupe at our high school this shouldn't work. Now that I know about improv, I know that it shouldn't have been this way. excuse me, but it was a huge deal at our high school.
Yeah.
Because what they were doing before my time was like the troupe would charge money for the shows.
Wow.
And be like, oh, we're like, you know, going to donate this. And then they'd skim a bunch off the top and like throw a huge party.
Oh my
So the whole school would show up to the shows.
Yeah,
Because they'd be like, we're going to pay for the whole party.
Yeah, we're funding our own party right now.
And that was like before my time. Like we were not stealing from charity.
I mean, that's pretty clever. I'm not going to lie.
It's very clever.
Yeah.
And, but it had grown into like this big kind of cultural thing at our school where like to this day, those are some of the biggest audience-wise shows I've done, like 300-400 people improv shows. It's just so stupid. How many people should not be showing up to a high school improv show? But yeah, that's how I first got exposure, and then did that for 2 years in high school. And
yeah, that's fantastic. I mean, I kind of want to go back to high school now and go there because I mean, a radio broadcast program, like an AM station, and an improv team. My high school had a golf team. And there were 4 people on it. And I was not one of them, but I just know we had it. So not to brag or anything, just thought I'd shout out my own high school, shout out Tri-City. Anyway, so high school, radio broadcast, you joined the improv team. And did joining that improv team in high school, did that like spark an interest, spark a light, a desire, an improv flame within your heart?
Yeah, I just immediately fell in love with it and have not gone a single day not thinking about improv since then.
Okay, wow.
Like it's crazy how just immediate I was like, this is awesome. Yeah. And I did theater in high school too, but improv was really the thing where I was like, this is the thing that I like can do, like that I get. It just immediately clicked. And also then my senior year, we got a new theater teacher who had a like really deep background in improv, which really helped me a lot in terms of just knowing like, oh, like I can do this. Like I can keep trying to pursue this and try to end up places where, pursuing this is going to be a possibility in college and beyond. So yeah, that's kind of how the high school part started.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just I've been obsessed with all parts of it, the history of it. I started reading a bunch of improv books in high school, going to the library and taking out every single improv book that I could find and just reading them. And most improv books are just terribly written.
Yeah.
There's actually too many improvisers wrote improv books over the pandemic, and it's a real issue.
Yeah.
Because I've also read all of those, and some of them are illegible. Like that, there's just they're not sentences.
Have you seen some of those books that are like improv games for Zoom?
Yes.
Yeah. Those are. I don't know. Those are a little rough. I appreciate that you are well read in like the literature of improv because I think there's a lot of both great stuff, a lot of interesting history books out there, but also some rough guides and games and things like that. Can you maybe tell me a couple of or just one or two of your favorite improv related books that you've read?
I think Truth and Comedy was the first one that I read, which is like the classic.
Halpern,
yeah. It's and it's I really think that Jonah Halpern wrote 95% of that book.
Oh yeah,
I think Del Close is just high on heroin in a corner, and they're like, let's stick his name on the cover.
Blitzed, yeah.
And I think there's actually a third author of that book too, Tim Howard. I don't know. He's irrelevant.
That name sounds familiar, but I haven't. It's been a few years since I read that one.
But that was the first one I read, and I was like, this makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Like this really makes sense. Everything they're saying here. And then the other ones I really like are my favorite now is probably called Improv Wisdom by Patricia Ryan Madsen. It's she was a San Francisco improviser at BATS. BATS is like the big San Francisco improv organization. And she taught at Stanford and she wrote a really, really good book. And there's a bunch of them. I like Improv Nation, but it's really good. Just in terms of history, just like knowing where, like, how did we get to here is such an important question for like any field. There's a ton. And because I always see them on Amazon, it's like $12. Most of them are pretty cheap. And I'm like, would I pay $12 for one insightful finding? And then I'm like, I would. If this is the finding that's going to like change my improv style, I would pay $12 for it. So I get caught and I just buy them all. I end up reading them all.
So you've got a shelf, like a mixed bag of like both incredible books and then just these garbage like improv Zoom games for kids under 12.
Yeah, that's exactly how my shelf is. There's a great book about the history of Commedia dell'arte, which is is really, really good. Oh, and Impro by Keith Johnston is really good. Okay. I mean, and then of course Improv for the Theater by Viola Spolin.
Yeah,
it's also very good.
That's like the improv Bible. I always think of it like that.
Yeah.
Just because that's where it all began, you know?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm going to, I've read a few of those, not all of them. I want to check out that Improv Wisdom, though. That's definitely like, I want some improv
it's
wisdom.
really, really good.
Okay.
It's very improv for the people in a sense. I think it fits like the studio's culture a lot.
Okay, yeah, kind of cultural and philosophy approach. Definitely. Okay. All right. So getting back to let's call it your improv journey, your improv timeline. High school, boom. I imagine at some point you graduate high school.
I hope so.
Yeah. So I think, unless maybe you're still working on that, which is fine. Everyone has their own path. But after high school, what are those next steps both in your life and in your improv life? What does that look like? Where do you go?
So I went to USC for college. Okay. I was choosing between Michigan and USC.
University of Michigan?
Yeah, University of Michigan.
I thought about that school as well.
Go Blue.
Yeah. Wolverines.
Yeah, cool. It's a sick school. Part of me, when I was having a really whenever I'd have like really hard assignments at USC, I'd be like, fuck, why did I go to Michigan?
I could have been a Wolverine.
Yeah, it's like it would have been the exact same thing there. But and actually improv was a huge reason. Improv and weather were like why I chose USC.
I mean, those are both great reasons.
Yeah. I was like, I'm a California boy. I can't deal with the cold. And I Googled like all the improv teams and I was like, USC, every time I Googled, there's like another team.
Yeah,
and I was like,
tons.
Well, if I go here, like just odds wise, like I have a better chance of making it.
So that it played a huge factor in your decision. Choosing schools. Okay.
Yeah. Wow. And, also, like some of the way the majors worked and lined up, it was going to be easier at USC to like do what I wanted to do that way.
Yeah, definitely.
And it was so funny because I was like, I'm bad. Like I'm going to show up and I'm going to have to be competing with the best in the world, the greatest improvisers on earth to get onto like a USC improv team in Los Angeles. And it was crazy. I really like did not think I was going to get onto a team, but I did. Really awesome team. Like they're all my best friends now, called Spoiler Alert, which is like it's well, we do like a movie form. Like weekly, they did like weekly shows, 1 hour each week. We had a theater. It's crazy. It's another one of those things that's like is only possible in college. Yeah. Because they're like, we're doing a weekly 1 hour show that is selling out every single week. Like that's crazy.
Yeah. You have the space, you have an audience, and it's all kind of already lined up. All you have to do is really advertise and get the word out.
Yeah.
So what would you say, what changed in you as an improviser, do you think, between high school improv and college improv, making that jump to USC?
My high school improv troupe was very, none of us knew what the fuck we're doing.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to swear.
You're fine.
Oh, God. No.
All right. We just lost all our sponsorship deals thanks to Liam. If anyone would like to help me with my rent, I'll throw up my Venmo now. Thank you.
And we were so bad. And a huge way that we got audience in high school was there were people on the team that were just super popular that were not good at improv or cared at all. But they just were the popular kids that would were like this person can bring 40 people.
Oh my gosh.
Or like this person we're like, his parents will let us party at his house. Like we need to have him on the team so we have somewhere to have the party. So it was just it was terrible.
Yeah. A lot of politics maybe.
Yeah. And it was all short form. And I remember the first line I ever said in an improv show. And it was also the point where it clicked to me of like, oh, like this is the way. And it was a scene. There's a very first line I ever said in a scene. And it was so much like going for the joke in that high school. Of course,
high school, early improvise. Yeah. That's what you do.
And it worked. Like that's the problem with it. That's like why it's a danger is it works to like, it'll get you like a C+, you know, like you can pass on that.
You're like 79.
Yeah. Right. So every single thing was just bam, go for the joke. And I said, there was a scene about go-kart racers and it was like a classic, like 2 on, 1 off. And they're Like I was off stage, and the first line I said was from off stage, and it was "Hello, racers!" Like the people that like come on, and it just like brought the house down. And I was standing off stage, like I was like, "What? That wasn't a joke. I didn't tell a joke. Why did that get a laugh?
Yeah.
Like, why are people reacting? What's going on?" It was so confusing. And it was only like afterwards I was like, yeah, because I just said the thing that everyone knew was the truth.
Yeah.
Like that everyone had experienced at some middle school party where there's like the announcer at a go-kart thing or paintball, those like overly enthusiastic announcers. It's like, it's just it's the reality.
It's the truth in comedy.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So that's when I was like, oh, like that was like a huge jump of like, that's how you do this.
Yeah. It's probably like it just clicked probably in that moment. You're like, I just improvised and it was good.
Yeah. And then it like, that also just lays out a path for everything. Cause you're like, okay, how would this actually play out in reality? Never have to imagine or create anything ever again. Yeah. Like being creative in improv is fucking difficult.
Yeah, it is.
You know, it's like, I want to avoid being as creative as often as I can. Cause it's a lot of heavy lifting.
Yeah. That's very true. Very true. Yeah. Because you don't want to repeat yourself, but there's the pressure of creating something new that's still interesting. And it's a heavy burden. Yeah.
And so I think that was kind of the biggest thing. And then just going, I mean, when I got to USC, I joined this troupe and I'm a freshman. I have 2 years of improv at this point, 4 years of radio. I also was like, I basically grew up in a very intense, serious boys chorus.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Since I was in the first grade, like all through high school. So just like performing and being on stage was something I had like years and years of experience.
You're comfortable. Yeah. You belong up there.
Yeah. Or I'm comfortable. I'm like, this is fine. Like I'm not in danger. Like this isn't actually a dangerous place. Like what's the worst that can happen? Like bomb? Like, but well, I mean that.
You mean like the stage is going to blow?
No, not that.
Okay, because both those are terrible things to happen. Because one, it's your last performance, or it's your last performance.
Yeah,
like.
So I was very comfortable being on stage already, and then took a big jump forward in improv in high school, and my high school theater teacher too. When she came, because I was on that improv troupe 2 years, and then my junior year we were terrible. My senior year we got way better because I had this theater teacher, and she wasn't even like. The group was completely self-taught and like self-coached. Like she was not coaching our troupe, but I was doing all the theater stuff. And I'm like, oh, she knows, like she'd done a bunch of Groundlings stuff in the past.
Oh yeah.
And then she'd like done a bunch of Bats stuff in San Francisco. Now she's a professor at NYU.
Oh,
like she's like the real deal.
No big deal.
And once I realized she knew about improv, I would just, every class just ask her about improv stuff.
Yeah.
And she'd be like, we're putting on a play. Like, can you stop asking about improv right now?
Like, what does this have to do with Wizard of Oz?
Yeah, exactly. So she really taught me a ton. And then when I got to USC, I joined the team. I think 120 people auditioned and they took 3 people, which is so funny to me because
that's crazy.
It sounds crazier than it is. Because if you actually see the auditions, you'd be like, well, there's only really 20 people here that care and that really want to do this. There's a lot of people that are kind of either like, I want to be on one of the big improv troupes. Culturally, improv at USC has like a very strong place. Like it means something on the campus, and there's 4 teams that are very big kind of, culturally relevant things to do on campus is go to one of these 4 shows. So when you get to the auditions, I was so terrified. I'm like, there's 120 people here. Like, I'm screwed. Like, why am I even doing this? Why am I auditioning? But I was like, all right, let's just have fun.
Yeah, see what happens.
And then 2 of the auditions I was so bad in. And then 2 of the auditions were fine. And then, I got onto 2 different troupes and then chose one because you kind of have to.
Yeah, make a decision.
Yeah, you have to choose. And then, that was that. And then really like, the people that were on that troupe is where I just like skyrocketed. Like that's when I like actually started getting good.
Yeah.
Like when like the exponential force like really took off, like that the compounding interest. Because there are people of like like I mentioned him earlier in the three things, my friend Cam is so funny. He was the leader of the troupe when I got there.
Yeah.
And like, it's like, you just get someone who's like, knows what they're doing teaching you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. It was the first time where like the leader had known like what he was doing. And all these other people had, there were seniors that had 4 years of experience already.
So they know too.
They know what they're doing. And then just the time, like the sheer volume of time that we spent together was crazy, because we would do a 1 hour show each week, and we do a half hour like warm up before that, and then a half hour of notes after every show.
Wow.
Then we go to Taco Bell and get Taco Bell, go back to campus, sit and talk about the show for another 2 hours to like 1 a.m. And then Thursdays we had rehearsal, and we would have a rehearsal from 10 to midnight on Thursdays, which I go to bed at like 10 o'clock now. So that sounds crazy.
Yeah, no, I feel that.
And before rehearsals, we'd go to the dining hall together and we'd sit there for 3 hours from like 7 to 10, just doing bits and improv before rehearsal.
Yeah, just joking around.
Yeah.
But like it builds your strength once you get into that rehearsal space or that performance space.
And then we just do that. So like all in all, we're probably doing improv like 20 hours a week.
Part-time
for
job
4
right there.
years. Yeah, it's all we did. Like we were lunatics.
Yeah. I mean, that's the dream right there, though.
It was awesome.
20 hours a week. That's college. College
was
lets
so
you do that.
sick. Yeah.
And that's, I think, just hearing like that organization and the dedication, right? That ability to like, hey, we're going to take notes during our show. We're going to get those notes after our show. I'm thinking like in my college improv team, we just did the show and it was like, peace.
Yeah.
We weren't that organized, but that's fantastic. Like the opportunity for growth there. And I'm guessing, or maybe thinking that like starting out, you came onto the team, you're a freshman, right? And there were, the other members of the team, they're all different class levels, right? So you were putting yourself in a situation where everyone else around you had varying levels of experience. Sometimes people who had a lot more, which helped you, I imagine, grow as an improviser, right? Year after year, you went from the high school rookie moving into that like, hey, now I'm a senior. Now I'm the guy who does the notes, right? I imagine that's how that went.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I rode the back line my entire freshman year of college. I was so scared.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know where I fit into this. I don't know what I'm doing. And it's like the form they do is a really complicated long form. It's a like 3-act structure. It's an improvised TV movie.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it's like a 3-act structure. And then the commercials are short form games.
Wow.
So it's like 20-minute act 1, one short form game, 20-minute act 2, one short form game, 20-minute act 3, short form game to close it.
Wow. That sounds like a lot of fun.
It's so fun. And then we would get a genre and a movie title. So it'd be like a horror.
Yeah.
And so like, yeah, a huge part of our rehearsals too were like, what is a horror movie? And like we had a bunch of film kids in our troupe that loved
the elements and
loved doing that. He's
tropes.
like, yeah.
Oh man, that sounds fun.
Yeah, we list tropes. Like, so then like after a while, you're like, okay, we're doing a Western. It's like, okay, at some point there's gonna be a fucking train is gonna show up. That's all the stuff that's like, it's so clear what we have
Duel,
to
train, someone spits, like, just all those beats that you hit without the,
Right. And then my favorite part was we started to have like recurring characters in our Westerns.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So like on a week to week, show to show basis, someone might come back.
Yeah. So I had like I had a character that was a miner, like a prospector, and all he would do is he'd come on stage, he'd hit the ground once, go, no gold here, and he'd walk off. And I did that for just like 3 years.
Yeah, which is just fantastic. I mean, that's gonna hit every time, I feel like.
And then what made it so great is by the end, like the people who came to the show every week, they're like, they see it and it fucking murders.
Yeah.
And then the people who's their first time at the show, they're like, what just happened?
Like,
so it's like you're almost like building a it's kind of an inside joke, I guess.
With the
it's
audience, with your like repeat viewers, right? But that's really cool. That you have like the loyalty from your audience where you can do something like that and pull it off over the long term.
Yeah. And I mean, the other games of like once you get so close with a troupe, you like start to like be mean to them on purpose.
Oh yeah.
Where it's like, I know that this person, like I hate being touched in improv scenes. I just don't like it. So my teammates would just find any way to try to corner me into having to touch someone, which is like, I think it's hilarious. Like when you know the people really well, it's very, very funny because that's like, you can also play that game like, I'm going to justify out of this, but you can only do that for so long until you just have to like bite the bullet and do it.
Like,
And
all right, I'm in it now. Like,
yeah. So yeah, we did that for, 3.5 years, just nonstop. And then COVID started the spring of my senior year, like March of my senior year.
Man.
So missed the end of that, but
That
could have been
sucks.
worse.
Yeah.
Really could have been
At
worse.
least right at the tail end.
Yeah. So like shows stopped and, yeah, so that was the end. Then I just did stand up for 2 years.
Okay.
Because that was the only thing that was out there, really.
Yeah, you needed an outlet. And was that like stand up over Zoom?
So at first, I didn't do anything until the first in-person things came back.
Oh, okay.
So I did like cold turkey, and then probably like October to November of 2020.
Yeah.
They were the first like outdoor open mics.
Right. Yeah.
Like in LA. I started doing those. It's so funny because like I was like, I like stand up. Yeah, it's fun. It's fine. And then I'm like, I want to get back into improv. And that was in April that I joined IFTP. And the first class, like Matt runs in and does his like, hello, Saturday morning. And I just like started laughing for like, like the fact that I was like, oh, this is just so joyful.
Yeah. Yeah. The energy.
Yeah.
And for those of you who don't know, Matt is the founder of Improv for the People. I mean, most of you probably know, but just to clarify. Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
And it's just amazing. It's like, stand up is very fun. It's very winner loser. Improv is we're all winning together. We're all building something together.
It's a team sport.
Yeah. And I like that a lot more.
Yeah, no, I do too. I've dabbled in stand up a little bit, but I just it doesn't hit the same for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I agree with you there. And was that like your foray into stand up at kind of that era of the pandemic? Was that your first time doing stand up? Did you have experience in the past?
No, I had experience in the past. USC has a really robust stand up program. So they have like 2 stand-up classes that are taught by like active stand-ups in LA.
Okay, that's awesome.
And it's really sick. I think like everyone at USC should take that class if they can. Yeah. It's
Public
so
speaking
fun.
skills even.
Yeah, and they just teach you so much about joke structure and premise and punchline and what is a joke and that type of stuff. It's really good. So I'd done some of that. So then, and I like it. I still do like a fair amount of stand up.
That's awesome.
When I have a stand up show, I get really nervous.
Yeah.
When I have an improv show, I get really excited. And that's the difference there.
Yeah. It's a difference in the energy. Cause I think like you said, improv is like you're working together, it's a team sport, you're building something with that other person. It's just something electric about that. And you're building something with the audience too.
Yeah.
Which is why, I'm right there with you. I love me some improv. It's just gets you going. All right. So you're stand-up. You're an improviser. So you said in April you found or started with IFTP. Was that April? What year was that?
This year.
Okay. So April 2021. Okay. So is this your first time coming back to improv since college?
No, not really.
Okay.
So it's half and half. First, formal, dedicated practice of it.
Got it.
My friend and I have a show at the Clubhouse on Vermont, which is it's a really cool theater, but it's kind of it's a really cool theater. Everyone should go there a few times. It's in a very sketchy strip mall, and it's just covered. It looks like it's an out of business place, and you have to rap on the door, and they open up, and then they just have 2 black box theaters in there.
Is it on the second floor?
There's 2.
Oh, okay.
So there's a theater on the second floor and a theater on the first floor.
Okay. I think I might have been there to the theater on the second floor.
Yeah.
Saw a friend in a play there 10 years ago.
Yeah, that type, that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
So my friend Cam, who I've talked about a couple of times, he and I do duoprov together.
Oh, nice.
He's a duoprov partner of mine. And even during the pandemic, before anything was open, we just go to his backyard on Sundays and just, there was 4 of us that would just go do improv every Sunday. Yeah. So I was still active, but it's not the same as showing up and being dedicated. And it's no, we're going to work on these skills today and we're going to do this, Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So you've made your own improv during the pandemic, which I think is fantastic. I know that was something during the pandemic, I was well, I don't know what to do. And I think, I jumped in summer 2021 and I was wait, they're in person? They're not on Zoom? You mean I'm not paying $500 for a Zoom class?
Yeah.
and not to toot our own horn, I guess, but that was pretty cool at the time. So your improv journey, right? You learned about it in 6th grade. You started performing in high school. You really like blossomed in college, I think, and now post grad, right? You're finding new ways to do that. You have a show at that theater on Vermont, the Clubhouse, right? You're doing stuff here at Improv for the People. What role does improv play in your life?
You know, that's a question that I think about a lot, and I don't know if I have. I'm still discovering the answer to that question.
Yeah.
And part of what I love about improv is that I get to move a little bit closer to the answer every time I do it. You know, I think that there's in everything I do, besides improv, outside of improv, there are 2 questions that really fascinate me and that I use as anchors as a way to think like, is this something that's helping me move towards the answer of these 2 questions? And those 2 questions are, what does it mean to be human? And who am I? And I really like to use both of those as an anchor for how I'm spending my time. And I think most things help me move close to that, but sometimes I'll be like, find something that doesn't help me move closer to those answers. And that's when I'm like, maybe I should rethink, you know, how much time I'm spending on this thing.
Yeah.
You know, I have a very normie job. I'm not in well, I guess I am in the entertainment industry, but from like a math kind of research side.
Okay.
I didn't study anything related to entertainment. So I'm kind of have these 2 sides of kind of the more, you know, kind of traditional career path.
Yeah.
And then I love performing. I love getting on stage. I love improv. And I'm very committed to it. So I think both kind of help each other in a way. The role that improv plays, I guess it's just fun. It just makes me feel more alive. I guess that's kind of the role that it plays. It's just something that like I leave any improv event and I'm like energized.
Yeah.
I'm like ready to attack something, like work that I have to do. I don't know. That's not exactly an answer, but it's kind of the vicinity of an answer.
Yeah, and it shows that like improv is this persistent force, right, in your life. Yeah, and kind of like those 2 questions, like you said, like who am I? What does it mean to be human? Which I think those are questions we've all had at times. And I really like that answer. 'Cause I think, I mean, for you in particular, like what you've shared, like improv has been a major factor for the past, you know, probably decade at this point in your life, and hopefully continues to be, which is really cool. Okay.
And I think too, like those are questions I like to ask as a character. Like when you put it on a character, it's like, who am I? Not what is the accent or what is the physical body shape, but like, who is this character?
Yeah.
Who are they? I love the idea. And we would say it all the time in my college troupe. And then Matt said it a couple months ago. And I was the first time he said it a couple months ago was when I was like, this is a place that I know I'm going to like how I think about improv aligns really well.
It clicked.
And it's this idea of like all the characters we ever play exist. They're real people. They're out there in the ether, and we are privileged enough to step into them for a brief moment when we're playing them in a scene. And I love that idea because one, I think it makes us respect the characters we're playing as real people and really live their reality. There's no end to that, actually.
Yeah. And I really like that answer because I think, you know, I can definitely think of times in my life where I'm like, a character is an accent, but, you know, it's so much more than that because, you know, any character, if you're doing an Irish accent or a French accent or a 1940s detective accent, right? The accent isn't what defines that character. It's just who they are, right? And anybody in real life, you know, who has an accent, they don't go, oh, well, I have this accent. You know, that's not how they think about themselves. It's a part of who they are, but there's so much more to a human, right? And I think your approach is definitely one that's really important and adds more detail and more life to any character that you bring up on stage because it gives you more information and helps you inform those choices that a character would make, right? Who am I? Who is this character? Rather than this character has this accent and that's all you have. You know, you're pushing it a little further. You know, instead of just a paper mask, you're trying to go for the full 3D. Who is this person? Which I love that. I love that. And I think, yeah, like you said, IFTP, I think that's something we try and do here as well.
Yeah.
Matt in particular. Oh, yeah, I know he teaches that.
Yeah. And it's so fun when you get when you get a character that goes super, super deep. I mean, like we used to do this exercise in my college troupe where you would, like, you know, the exercises where you walk around, it's like, take on a character like this.
Yeah.
It would start like that. And then Cam would say, and then when I took over the troupe after we graduated, I did the same exercise, but then you'd pause and you'd go to someone, you'd be like, what's your name? And you'd like interview the person deeply. Like, and as you're interviewing people deeply and deep, it's like, why do you want that? Why are you this? Why'd you say that? Why does your character answer in this way? And like, you build just like super rich, like round characters that are complicated and our form that we did in college, which I'm very much like a narrative improv, very much like a child of narrative improv. Over some short form stuff, which is, we can talk about that maybe, but because IFTP is a lot, at least my experience so far has been a lot more short form style things. And even though
that in class.
And the long form is not a narrative long form style. But in narrative long form, we would always talk about how like plot doesn't matter. Like plot doesn't matter. It's just a tool to show characters' relationships. It's like, that's what people care about. Like they care about how people relate to each other, not what actually happens. Because every movie is the same. Like every Western is the same. Every action movie is the same. Every superhero movie is the same. Like the actual plot is the exact same. We don't care about plot. We care about characters and how they're affected and change.
That's what makes a great movie, is seeing a character start at point A and go through a huge journey to get to point B. Personal struggles and, you know, what they face. But it's like, stop the bomb, you know, city doesn't explode. Yay. Like that's like 80% of movies at this point.
It's so fun.
That's a good point. And I think, like you said, with narrative improv, something longer form where you have that time to flesh out characters and get a little more of a peek into them, you can really explore that, right? Those relationships with the other characters that are on stage, you know, what do they mean to each other? What is their point of view of that other person, right? Yeah, which I think that's the juicy stuff, you know. I love that, because that's where things can really shine and you can really explore and see those choices, and that's what a character becomes, way more than an accent. Okay. And that movie form sounds cool.
It's so fun. I would love to bring it back at IFTP or find a way to do it.
Just to try it. And get everyone involved.
One of the things that's so fun is like the way secrets work in that form, because, you know, one character might be on stage and say something and then leave. Then the second character says something to character 3 that now the audience knows, all the improvisers know, but the first character doesn't know.
Right.
So you're playing with information that everyone knows, but people also know who doesn't know what.
It's that dramatic irony.
Yes, you get in that, and it's a ton of fun. It's a really, really cool form.
So, improv. You told me a little bit about its role in your life. Has there any lessons that you've learned from improv you think that have translated into your everyday life?
Everything. Improv is everything. Like it's the greatest way to learn empathy, because you physically practice being someone else and thinking about how someone else would think about a problem. And then I think pretty much everything flows from empathy. I mean, every single improv rule, every like trite little improv phrase and saying like can be immediately applied to real life. Like, you know, the idea of like yes and of just like, you know, there's in the the Keith Johnson book, he has some great quotes in there. And one of the ones is that people who say yes are rewarded with adventure, and people who say no are rewarded with safety. And I love that idea. Because I think it's good because he opens the window for saying no. And knowing that you'll be safer. And sometimes you need to make that decision in real life. You cannot say yes to everything. Sometimes you have to be like, this has to be safety.
It's like Yes Man, that movie.
Yes, exactly. You're
we
like,
see what happens if you say yes to everything.
And the other side is like, okay, if you're looking for adventure, this is how you get there. This is how you get to an adventure.
You agree to something and you go along with it.
I think that's a big thing that I think about a lot. The thing that helps me the most in work, which is just like my secret superpower in work, is if this, then what else?
Okay, write that down. Okay.
which
Like,
is
if this is true, what else is true, right? Yeah.
which is the improv rule a lot of times used to like find game.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
that's where
Flesh it out.
I learned it at UCB. You know, they'd say that all the time.
That's like the core tenet of their philosophy.
Yeah.
Game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in work, I found that to be a great way to like get to really deep insights and to kind of get to a second level thinking of, you know, because a lot of my job is giving insights to clients.
Okay.
That's very vague.
Based off numbers?
Yes,
I'm
based
guessing?
off numbers.
Okay, yeah.
But it's like, okay, well, if this is true, if we found this, then what does that imply? What's the next, what's the deeper level implication of this?
Yeah.
And then if that's true, what's the deeper level implication of that?
Yeah. Are you analyzing data?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
The data analyst.
We'll go with that. Yeah. Which I think, is a great point. Just this idea of like, in an improv scene, I do this. I find this thing and I expand upon it. You know, I see, if this is true, what else is true? And that applies to so many other areas, like in your particular career path, right? You're looking at these numbers, spreadsheets, graphs, pie charts, whatever, right? And you're seeing trends, you're noticing them and trying to expand upon them, right? What do they look like now and in the future? Which I think is a very like practical application of that skill. Really cool. I want to loop back really quick because I love what you said about empathy, right? In improv, you're jumping into playing this other character and they could be very different from who you are, right? Liam Clancy, improviser, but your character may be the total opposite of that, right? And I think I would agree that's one of my favorite things about improv is that opportunity to cast yourself almost. And it's endless, you can be whoever, whatever you want, any career, any person, any age. The opportunities are limitless there. And I think it really makes me think of that quote, To Kill a Mockingbird.
Yeah.
That quote from Atticus Finch where he talks about, walking a mile in another man's shoes. And really in an improv scene, I think that's often the goal you want to have with your character. You're like, I need to fully embody whoever this character is. And I know I've seen that in your work. You do. You just jump into that. You slap on those shoes real quick. You're like, bam, bam, I'm ready to go on that new character. And I think empathy is just in general something that we all need to learn and probably need a little bit more of too.
Yeah. And I mean, I also want to, I don't ever fully live up to my own improv philosophy. Like the ideas that I think about improv, I never truly do 100%.
Well,
I still find myself making all the same mistakes I made, just a little bit less.
Yeah.
I just try to like fail a little bit better each time. And then over like 10 years, I'm like, oh, I can do this.
I don't fail as much as I used to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think improv's also taught me a ton about caring for other people. Just like take care of your scene partner.
Yeah.
Put your scene partner first. Make your partner look and feel good. That was like one of our core rules in my college troupe. That's one of those, like there's some improv sayings that are just like,
yeah. There's like that vernacular to
yes,
improv.
the saying is like so ingrained. Like, make your partner look and feel good. That's something I've been thinking about a lot lately. I think it's one of the more complicated improv rules. I think there's a balance of make your partner look and feel good, but you have to be prepared as well.
Yeah.
You have to show up for yourself before you can show up for other people.
Yeah.
Make sure you're taking care of yourself is an important aspect of caring for others. And then what was the other one? I had one more improv thing. Oh, listening. I mean, just listening. That's like the difference between listening and hearing is most people never listen. That's like another good thing that's been great in my career is like listening to what the other person said.
Retaining.
And when there's like 5 or 6 people and one person will say something and then the other person will reply with not the answer to it's the classic improv thing is they were thinking about what they were going to say. And then their response was just what they were going to say, not actually the response to the question. And something I've gotten good at in work has been the thing like, actually, I think he was saying this and like just solving communication. I have a friend who was a senior when I was a freshman in college who had a rule that I've kept with me forever that I think is like the greatest thing. And we called it the Gabe rule. And the way it would work is if he would ask a question, he would not answer the same question that he asked because he didn't ever want to be asking about someone else just so that he could say his answer to that question.
That's a good rule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, it's obviously not like a, sorry, can't say Gabe rule thing, but more just the idea of like, I'm coming from a place where like, I actually care about hearing what you have to say.
Yeah, it's a selfless question.
Yeah. I'm not just setting myself up for the answer.
Yeah.
Like for my own answer.
Yeah. I really like that Gabe rule.
It's awesome.
I think we can pull that out of improv and just use that in like daily lives, you know?
Oh yeah, that's like because I mean improv we don't ask any questions at all.
Yeah.
We try not to.
Right.
But like in real life, like when we would go to like group dinners and stuff, you'd ask people a question and be like, no, like, or you'd be like, yeah, ask me something else.
Yeah.
Don't ask me the same question back.
Yeah. So you ask it with the objective of listening. You're like, I've asked you a question. You're going to tell me the answer, and then we're going to move on to something else.
Yeah.
And that's really cool because I think we could all use a little bit of that.
Yeah, he's the best. He's like one of the best. It's so cool when you build troop chemistry and spend hours and hours with people and you start to really learn their nuances. And Gabe, he is one of the best listeners I've ever met. Like there's people who like listen in such a profound and whole way that it's like almost shocking. Another thing that Gabe does that I've stolen because it's great is when like the amount of times that people get cut off in like group conversations is extraordinary. And something Gabe always did is if someone would get cut off, he would always make sure to return to what they're saying. Even if it was like 2-3 minutes later, you'd be like, oh yeah, before we went down that path, you were talking about XYZ. Like, what were you saying about that?
Which that's not easy to do. So that's like, that juggle of conversation almost that he's like keeping track. He's like, you go, you go. Yeah, that's a valuable skill set.
And that's one of those things that's not directly improv, but comes from improv. It comes from the skills of improv.
Yeah.
Like that's applicable to your life. Like, what does it mean to actually listen?
Yeah. And recall information too, bring it back. Like it's not just you hear it once and it's gone. You hear it and you can bring it back later to continue that conversation or that path.
Yeah. Names too.
Yeah.
Names is a huge one. A huge pet peeve of mine is people who are like, in real life are like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm bad with names.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you're not. You're not trying.
Yeah.
It's a difference. Like,
yeah. It takes a little bit of effort.
It takes effort. Yeah. It's like, it's not going to be easy, but put in the minimal amount of effort of, remembering a name.
Yeah. Yeah. I used to be a middle school teacher and that was when I started that job. I was like, gosh, I can't use that excuse anymore because now I got to learn, tons and tons of names of all these kids coming into my classroom, So that was something I've worked on and still need to find a way to apply that teacher skill into improv scenes.
How did you work on it?
Play games, a lot of games and just games where it's actually an improv game that I like to do with students when I was a teacher where we did it in our sketch class. For the first couple of weeks where you tie that physical motion, it's an alliteration game. So I'd be like Marshmallow Michael.
Yeah.
And I can't remember what yours was.
It's probably,
I'm trying to think.
Normally when I play that game, I go with Leaping Liam, but I don't think I did this time.
Yeah. I don't think you were Leaping Liam.
No. Cause I think what I remember thinking, I always do Leaping Liam.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cause every UCB class always starts with that game.
Oh yeah. That's probably where I got it. I don't even remember. Oh, sorry, UCB. Let's see. I have like
Bleep that out. Bleep out the.
Yeah. I made it up.
Bleep out every other improv school in LA.
Yeah. Good point. Yeah. Either the praise or the slander.
No, not the slander. Just the praise.
Right.
Keep the slander in.
Yeah. That's a good point. Oh man. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's one of those games. At least in like a getting to know each other context, that really helps me get those names. So maybe just every improv scene I'm in from this point forward, I'll just make everyone do that game in the scene in universe, and then you'll be good to go.
A tip I heard once in college that is great is just to give people the name of someone you knew from middle school.
Oh yeah,
because you won't forget it, but they don't know it.
Yeah.
I like that too.
Yeah.
It's a really fun, which actually I have not thought of that in a while. I'm going to steal my own tip.
That's a good one. Yeah. Like anyone you went to school with. Cause those are kids' names you remember for not really any particular reason other than they've just, they've been around a while.
Yeah. And when you say a full name in improv, it kills. So it always kills.
Yeah.
Because they're like, how do you think up a whole name? It's like, no, I kind of cheated. This is my third grade soccer coach.
Ooh, yeah. All right. I'm going to quiz you right now. Can you name 3 people you went to school with?
Middle school?
Yeah. Let's do middle school.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go first names. First names only.
There's Matt,
Okay.
Max, Adrian.
Mm.
There are only 8 boys in my middle school class.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So
Yeah, you know them all then. You can count them all
I probably
two hands.
could. Yeah.
All right.
Not with these hands.
Yeah.
If I only had 6.
So sad. Not enough fingers for your middle school classmates. A tragedy. That was very rude of me to ask you to do that.
I have a question.
6 fingers. Sure.
What do you have a favorite warm-up game? How do you like to warm up?
Oh man.
Warm-ups are something that I find people have very strong feelings about how to warm up, the best way to warm up, how much, exercises.
I mean, I definitely, in a weird way, and I know I'm going to get canceled for saying this, but I like Zip Zap Zop just a little bit. I know it's got this reputation as like, oh, we're going to do Zip Zap Zop, but I think in college we would do it a lot as a warm up, and we'd play the competitive version where you get eliminated. And I had like an acting cohort I was in for all 4 years. So we were, we got super into it over the years because, it's like every week we're playing Zip Zap Zop because our acting teacher's like, all right, you guys warm up and then we'll do our monologues or, whatever. So I've just played a lot of it and I enjoyed that communal, like competitive Zip Zap Zop. Like, oh, you won last time. Like, let's see if I get you this time. So unfortunately, I really like Zip Zap Zop.
True scholar.
Yeah.
I love Zip Zap Zop.
Yeah.
The key to making it fun is no hesitation.
Yeah.
Zip Zap Zop, Zip Zap Zop. Bop, bop,
Take
bop,
it seriously. Get invested. Like I get in a runner stance. That's the only way to play.
Yes.
You're like, you're receiving and sending. You got to be ready for that.
Yeah. We played a version in my college troupe where we've played Zip Zap Zop once for half of rehearsal for an hour. And the reason why is because we would play this version, not all the time, but sometimes where you'd go Zip Zap Zop, Zip Zap Zop. After a while, you'd add in a 3-named person, like James Earl Jones.
Okay.
So then the pattern was Zip Zap Zop, James Earl Jones. And you had to get all 6 right.
Oh, that's great.
And then after you had the 6, you added another 3. But on the third one, it had to be some combination of the first 6 words. So the third one might be Zip Zap Zop, James Earl Jones, James Earl Zip, Zip Zap Zop, James. And then after you get 3, you add a 4th, and it would.
Yeah, you stack and stack and stack.
And one time we got to 18, which is 6 iterations.
Oh my goodness. It's a verbal Jenga.
And you're just going pa 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 pa.
Oh yeah.
That game and the counting, head down counting, are the two this troupe knows each other.
Yep. Those are both 2 warm-ups. And also I'm realizing how good of an advertisement for USC this podcast has been because I mean, again, like I'm going to go back and get another bachelor's degree. Like I'm sold.
I honestly think that the improv scene at USC is like one of the best in the entire country. In college, easily like one of the best. Maybe Northwestern has like a better scene.
Chicago proximity. Yeah.
The USC improv scene is incredible. I mean, Ava came out of the USC scene.
Okay, yeah.
She was on one of the other troops the same time. Like she was a couple of years older than me, but I knew her through USC troop.
Oh wow. Okay.
They're incredible. They've produced like Kyle Mooney and Beck Bennett, all of them. They were on Cometus, which is one of the troops there.
Yeah.
There's all
I saw Kyle Mooney on a train once, and it was pretty exciting.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and then he walked away. But to know that I shared a train with the man, that's all I need.
But yeah, I cannot speak highly enough of the USC improv community and what it did, and it was just amazing. And I mean, all the troops were friends with each other, so then it was like 50-ish people across the troops that were like all friends and just hang out together.
Yeah, it's a community.
All we do is talk about improv.
Yeah.
They're like improv lunatics.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because like improv can be something like there are a lot of people at IFTP who like, they're like, I come, once a week. It's like a super fun, any hobby has that scale of
how obsessed are you?
Yeah. And there's no correct answer. It's just, where are you on that scale? And at USC, of the people on the improv troops, half were like fully to the obsessed side.
Yeah. They're like, I have an improv tattoo,
Yeah. And they all all the teams have a house. Like at USC, like most student orgs like rent a house together. It's like all the teams have a house. They all live together. Like,
oh my gosh,
all think about improv all day long.
Yeah, it's a 24/7
It's
kind
crazy.
of deal. Yeah, you're like trying to go to bed and you're like, hey, do this scene with me real quick. Hey, clap in.
My roommate and I lived with for 2 years, sophomore and junior year. We were sharing a room, and we would do improv scenes going to bed.
Yeah, I had a roommate. We did that as well. Yeah. I felt so bad for our other roommate.
Like it's like when you're like camp or like middle school sleepovers. You're like, hey Joe, I'm scared.
Why are you scared, John?
Yeah, you just go back and forth, and you're like, dude, we're 20 years old. Like, what are we doing?
We're adults. Well, but yeah, I mean, you're sleeping on bunk beds, or whatever anyway. So it really feeds the scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would pretend to be like Australian wildlife, kind of a Steve Irwin kind of thing, and we'd go attack my other roommate while he was sleeping, and we'd record it too. We'd get a little phone and be like, "All right, we've got a sleeping Harry Beast in here," and we'd wake him up. He'd get mad. I mean, he was our friend, but we'd harass him for sure. This poor guy. Yeah, so that's man, those are good times. Just like living in like improv house.
Yeah. Very fun, right? And then after college, like everything changes quickly, and throwing COVID in
just
really threw off the balance of like, for me at least, of, who am I? What do I become now? Am I still an improviser? I haven't done it for 2 years formally. Like,
where do I fall within that?
Yeah. And what do you have to do to earn that label? Which the answer to that might be nothing, everyone's an improviser. They just don't know it yet. Yeah. It was one of my college troupe, and I know I keep going back to this, but this is really formative. The heart of my improv experience so far. Each year we'd have a parents rehearsal on Parents Weekend, where our parents would come and we'd do a rehearsal with them.
That's both cool and scary.
And it was always the cringiest and funniest weekend. Yeah. And there was something like so freeing, and that made me almost for the first time ever be like, oh, I really am an independent person. See, like my parents and my friends' parents, who were all like super successful, very put together adults, like be terrified. Yeah. Just terrified. I'm like, what are you scared of? Like, you're so safe. Yeah. And it's like, I imagine that's probably like in some way, I don't know. It's interesting to see your parents in that type of position.
It humanizes them a little bit, I think. Yeah, because we all think, I mean, maybe not everyone, but, a lot of people think their parents are invincible. And, I mean, I think there are times now where I feel like, am I an adult yet?
Yes. I think that all the time. And I'm like, well, I look at my age, I'm like, well, I think so.
Legally, yes. Anything else? No.
Yeah, my dad had this great moment. I remember a scene he was in. It was like first time ever doing an improv where he's picking up records and was naming them. And he named like 2 real Led Zeppelin records, and then like couldn't think of a third one fast enough. And then instead of freezing, just made something up. Yeah, there you go. And then afterwards, he was like shocked that he was able to do that.
That was, what a cool moment to witness. Like your dad, like discovering gray spacing kind of in that moment. Just be like, Led Zeppelin's aluminum dirigible, and then like passes it on. Like,
he's like, I don't know where that came from. Just made it up. I was like, yep, that's
welcome to Improv, Dad. Yeah, that's so cool though. I would really love to see my parents do some improv. So I gotta force them into my own parents' weekend.
Yeah, you gotta.
That'll be pretty cool. All right, Liam, I got a couple more questions for you before we get to our games. Kind of two big questions. So my first one would be, what advice would you give to someone who is either starting out in improv or kind of, thinking about dipping their toe in the improv pool?
Well, I think if you're thinking about dipping your toe in, I would say just show up. Yeah. Like just show up. Like you'll be fine. You'll be okay. Like the first thing you need to do is be there. Like be physically there. And that's the hardest thing. The hardest part about your first improv class is showing up. Yeah. Is like taking the leap of, I'm going to sign up. I'm going to try this scary thing. So if you show up to the first class, you've done the hardest thing. To someone who's like newer, I would say 2 things. Like, don't be funny and just keep going. It's kind of like the two, like that's the biggest thing. I'm like, just don't make jokes make sense.
Yeah.
That was another like line that we would always say and a note I've gotten a ton.
Yeah.
That has helped me a lot is don't make jokes make sense.
Yeah.
I think a lot of scenes, there are a lot of really creative new improvisers who are like, I'm going to throw in this thing. I'm going to throw in this thing. I'm going to throw in this thing. It's like all of those things are amazing. Every single thing you just threw in is great, but we want to see them pulled out and we want to see them, we want to go into it deeply.
Yeah.
We want to have one thing added and then make it make sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Not the shotgun approach.
Yeah. I guess those are kind of the two biggest things. I think go see improv. I think watching improv is extraordinarily helpful. I used to go to UCB shows like 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah.
And they were still around.
Harold Night.
Yeah.
All that stuff. Just eat it up.
Yeah. And they're like $5. It's an hour. It's a nice tight show. Like they were great. And you learn so much just watching. You learn so much just watching.
Were you one of those guys who would bring the notebook to the show and write down things?
Yeah.
I never did, but I always had respect for people who were, front row. They're like, write that down.
Yeah, I was back right corner.
Okay.
I'd always go to the Sunset Theater. I like Franklin better.
Yeah.
But it was a little bit further from USC.
Oh, okay.
So I was always go Sunset.
Okay. Yeah.
Back right corner. And I had 2 notebooks. One that was like a little tiny one because I didn't want to be a freak. I didn't want to be one of the notebook freaks.
Yeah.
But I was like, I don't want to forget this.
Not the full legal pad, but
yes. So I'd take little tiny notes and then I had a big note. And the next day I'd go through and write longer form things about the show.
That's cool.
And you see like in their heyday, I wish they'd come back, but like you'd see big names there, like Jason Mantzoukas. I think he's like my favorite.
Yeah, Ben Schwartz.
Ben Schwartz was there all the time. Donald Glover too. He did a show. Like my freshman year of college was like the last year he did it because then he just got like too big.
Yeah.
And he didn't even do it every week. He did like it was called Shitty Jobs where they'd like interview someone about like a bad job they had.
I saw that show, but Donald Glover was no longer a part of it. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was like with all the other Derek, like Derek, the sketch group.
Yeah, their comedy
people, like they were all the ones on it. And I saw him once. So like, go see it. And then I guess the other piece of advice I would have is just like live life and learn and be curious because like all the specifics just come, you don't learn specifics in improv. Like one of the notes that everyone always gets is like more specific, more detail, be specific. It's like, well, I don't like, you only get that by living and experiencing things. Like we did a couple weeks ago, Matt's question of the morning was like, what's your favorite commercial from your childhood? And it just like blew the top off the room because it really highlighted like the diversity of like ages and like content that people were watching and what stuck with them. And there are so many commercials of like just such like it was such rich stuff. And then like in clap-ins at the end, like everyone's pulling from all these commercials,
bring
right?
that back, bring
all
that
these
back.
things. And it's like, you're not learning that in an improv class. Like you only experienced the like J.G. Wentworth commercial by like watching TV in 2004. So I think just like learning, going places, seeing things.
Like write what you know, right? That's screenwriting rule, but it applies to improv because you're writing on your feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think also, that also helps make boring tasks better for me. Like every time I'm doing a boring task, I just think about like specific boring tasks. I think space work. Like when I fold laundry, I'm like, what am I actually doing here? Like, let me be really aware.
Yeah. Take that with you.
Yeah. Like typing. You see a lot of just this for typing.
Insane typing in improv. Man.
No one ever touches the mouse. It's it makes me laugh all the time.
Yeah.
No one in an improv scene has ever touched a mouse.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. Everyone in improv scenes, they know all the keyboard shortcuts.
Yes, they know. Yeah. It's everyone is
tap,
like
tap.
a fifth year analyst at Goldman Sachs.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. 100 words per minute.
Yeah.
It's incredible. No typos. Wow.
No one ever hits back. No one ever just
absolutely not. There are no mistakes.
The web.
Yeah. Just mashing out a Word document right then and there.
Yeah.
Every scene. So that's a really good point. That detail. That talk about specificity.
Yeah. And that's just made living more fun for me. Because whenever I'm doing anything, I'm like, you just become more aware.
Yeah.
What's actually going on here?
I'm becoming a better improviser just by, being observational in my everyday tasks.
Yeah. Like that deep observation is really fun.
Yeah. Okay. I want to circle back because I'm just curious, just plain curiosity. What is like your favorite childhood commercial?
Oh, it's any of the ones that were the Capri Sun, respect the pouch.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and then they
Yeah.
like step on the, and this was like, mind you, like 2003. So it was very IED-esque
Yeah.
in the way that they would step on a Capri Sun pouch and then blow up.
Yep. Yep.
It was very much like a commercial of our times.
Yeah,
Which
yeah.
is like, looking back on it, I'm like, this is very strange. Like,
That's odd.
that's
that they're
odd.
doing that.
In this context, huh?
Yeah. But, we were none the wiser. We're just like, that's a cool drink.
Yeah.
I need some strawberry kiwi right now.
Yeah. I also like the like FREE, that spells free. Creditreport.com,
my
baby.
gosh.
You know that
they
one?
They were killing it back
They
like
had
mid
some
2000s. Yeah. Oh man, I don't know where they're at now.
Yeah.
Now that I could actually get a credit report.
Yeah.
I haven't checked them out. And something to do tonight when I get home. Yeah. Oh, man. Okay, those are some excellent choices.
Do you have one?
I mean, the classic like Reese's Puffs commercial.
Oh,
Reese's Puffs. Like that was
peanut butter chocolate flavor. Yeah.
So there was like a minivan in there.
Yes.
Like I don't, it's a little hazy, but I can vaguely remember the melody, and it's still like I haven't eaten that cereal in years, but there's always a longing to, just in the back of my mind.
Yeah, cereal commercials definitely were more problematic in the past.
Cookie Crisp,
Yeah.
like
And the cinnamon, here we go, yes, cinnamon, like the Apple Jacks.
Oh my gosh, yeah. See, Apple Jacks, what are they doing these days? You don't hear from them. I mean, I'm not watching Cartoon Network,
Yeah,
Nickelodeon
maybe.
anymore, but still, you gotta wonder. I hope they're okay. All right. Thank you for indulging with me because we're around a similar age. So I was like, I bet Liam's gonna have some commercials that I remember as well.
Yeah, like that era.
Yeah.
But it was so fun when Matt asked that question because there were different age pockets.
Yeah, you're probably getting like 70s, 80s, 90s,
Yeah.
2000s.
So then someone would mention a commercial I'd never heard of from like
Yeah.
the 70s, and then like the 3 or 4 like oldest people in the class would be like, "Oh my god, like I haven't thought about that in 30
Yeah.
years," and then like. And seeing like people have like pure joy like that over something I have no understanding of is just fun.
Yeah,
it's just so
There's
fun.
a joy in watching others' nostalgia.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, that sounds cool. Yeah, now I kind of want to like just go around and ask people. I'm gonna do that at work tomorrow.
Yeah, it's a good question.
Yeah,
It's a good question to like.
just drop on someone.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do that in the elevator with a stranger. So, hey, what's your favorite commercial from your childhood? And then they'll say, "Please leave me alone," and I'll say, "I don't remember that commercial." All right. I'm gonna remember that though. All right, Liam. I got one more question for you. So, improv, high school, radio, college, team, post grad life into your early to mid 20s. I'm guessing.
I'm 45.
45. Wow, you are.
Oh, I'm a
You
look
are
young
youthful
for 45.
What's your secret? Is it retinol?
Blood?
Oh, whose?
Depends on the week.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's good to diversify your donors. I don't know anything about that. All right. Where would you like to go, or what's your improv goal? Where would you like, where do you want to end up next with improv, or what does that journey look like? Do you think your future in improv?
Well, I can't stop. I do not have the ability to stop.
Yeah.
It is the single thing that I like enjoy the most in my
you
life.
got a hunger.
Yeah, like I love it so much. It's so odd. Like I never feel more myself than when I'm on stage doing improv. Not necessarily performing, but just like doing improv.
Yeah.
I just feel so much myself.
Yeah.
And even not when it's me on stage, even just like sitting in classes watching other people, like watching improv, just anything involved in improv, I just feel like I'm myself.
Being a participant, audience, performer,
Yes.
whatever. Like that's, you're in the space with improv.
Yes.
That's where you need to be.
So I know I'm going to keep going. I want to get better. There's a lot of things I want to do better. I think characters are something I naturally have somewhat of a strength towards.
Yeah.
And I want to
Peter
like
Price.
push that. You
Yeah.
know, like I want to find the thing I'm good at and just blow it out.
Yeah.
Um,
You want a whole roster of characters. Yeah.
yeah. So I want to get better at characters, finding them, developing them. I just, like we were talking about earlier, I think it's fun to wear characters and see who they are.
Yeah. To stay in it for a little while.
Yeah. And so I want to do that. I really want to get back into narrative improv. I guess the biggest thing on my like short to medium term improv goals is to like start another troupe. I love the style of the IFTP shows. It's so fun to like people that you don't get to improvise with. Now you're doing a show with, because some people aren't in my class.
Yeah, you're jumping in for that night.
Yeah, and it's
so hour and a half.
It's like such a joy to discover in the moment.
Yeah,
what type of improviser this is.
We can work.
Yeah, like how that works. It's so fun. But there's also a lot of stuff that can only grow from long-term relationships with a troupe of 6 to 10 people.
Yeah,
and I really miss that, and I want that back.
Yeah.
So I want to find a place where I can do that and build a troupe that's serious and committed and is going to show up. And the amount that I did improv in college is no longer feasible.
Yeah.
Because basically like college tuition was subsidizing that time. Mm-hmm. Like that time was very expensive. Mm-hmm. And now but I want to do something where I'm like, we have one rehearsal a week, one show a month.
Yeah. You want to get consistent with one group.
Yeah.
And just work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's those are kind of the near and medium term goals. The long-term goal is to just keep going. I mean, I'm not trying to be like a professional actor or entertainer.
All right. You heard it here first. Liam is the next Will Ferrell. All right.
I just love this and enjoy it.
And for the passion, not for like financial gain or, like some people, they come in with that objective.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's another thing I love about improv is you can't make money on improv.
Yeah. You really can't.
You have to love it.
Yeah.
You really do. Like there is no, like jobs, there are lots of people I almost said me, but I would never say that out loud. But I'm just joking. No, please, I'm just joking. I am.
He's just joking.
But
on the record.
Those are things where you're like, yeah, I might not love it, but I'm getting paid, so I'll do it.
Yeah.
That doesn't exist in improv. You just have to have the passion. You have to like it to keep going.
Yeah.
And anyone who does make money off improv makes money by leaving improv, right?
To go be in a commercial or a feature film.
Exactly.
Where they might happen to have to improv.
And I'm not interested in that at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I'm not interested in being a commercial actor. I'm not interested in being an actor in any way.
Yeah.
I love improv. I like sketch too. Sketch is super fun.
Yeah.
A lot of that comes from improv though.
Yeah, of course. They're very like, hand in hand, symbiotic.
Yeah. And I like getting on stage. So yeah, the long-term goal, I guess, is just to keep going, keep getting better, get more consistent with performing.
Yeah.
I like performing. Performing isn't why I do improv, but it's a piece of it.
Yeah.
It's a piece of the puzzle that I want to continue to do. So I guess that's kind of the future.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you're now at a point in life where you have to make the opportunities. Right? That's what changes, like leaving college, leaving high school, right? It's like those aren't given or held by an institution. You have to seek them out or create them yourself, which I think can be really hard for a lot of people coming out of college, like losing that structure that you had. Mm-hmm. But I think you're going to be able to pull it off.
Yeah. And I'm very excited to like do improv at IFTP specifically.
Yeah.
Like I think the community here is very, very unique. I think the structure that Matt devised of the recurring membership as opposed to a class-based structure, like a 6-week class, is really unique. And
it is.
It builds community in a way that no other improv place has ever been able to do.
Yeah.
So I think that's the thing about FTP. I'm like, this is really special. Like the style of improv is special. The community is really special. Mm-hmm. Everyone who's here wants to be here and is excited to show up.
Different. Yeah.
Right. There, like I really like UCB. I learned a ton in the UCB classes.
Yeah, me too.
There are a lot of people there who are there because their agent said, you need to put this on your resume.
We want you to get in a Geico commercial. You're going to go take an improv class and, book this gig.
And there are people there who don't care about improv.
Yeah.
And don't want to get better.
Yeah.
And will steamroll every scene.
Yeah.
Because they just like, and that's fine, I guess.
They want to be funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, am I funny yet?
Yeah.
That's why I took this class.
Yeah. And IFTP has none of that. Like I love how everyone is here for improv. Yeah. And I also love how everyone is here for improv for different reasons.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like it's so unique. It's so great. It's
it's unique. And I think the way you mentioned it, that month to month, I think of it almost like a gym. I'm like I'm coming in to work out my improv muscle every month, and I get to do it with people I actually get to know over the long term. You know, it's not like 6 weeks you're in a group chat and then you never see each other or talk to each other again.
Right.
You know, there are long-term lasting relationships that you can build, which is phenomenal. And it does, when you're in those classes with the same people month to month to month to month, like you can get some really strong connections going, and you know how that other person works and what they bring to the table and how you complement each other, which I love.
And I love the diversity at IFTP is mind-boggling.
Yeah.
Because the types of people at a lot of the other improv places are very similar, which makes sense. Like it makes sense why it attracts people that are similar.
Yep.
And they tend to be people that are very similar to me, like young 20s, did improv on their college team, now wants to do like more improv.
Yeah.
And I love here how there are people just from all walks of life showed up.
Yeah, diversity in age and which I think is also rare.
It's really rare, especially age. There's like every single person was my age in all my UCB classes. And then at IFTP, we have people who are like, it's just incredible.
Yeah.
I would never call a community member old. I would never say that.
More experienced in life.
More experience, yes. Yeah.
Yes. Well put. All right, Liam. Well, some exciting things in the future, but some exciting things in our immediate future. Are you ready for some improv games, Liam?
I'm ready.
All right. I can tell by the sound in your voice. I'm going to pull up my phone here. All right, let's take a look. So we asked some questions. All right, so this first game, Liam, this is one you've played before. This is going to be a 2-person scene. These are all 2-person scenes. There are 2 of us here. No surprise guests back there that I know of. So this game, Bad Gift. It's a classic. In just a moment, Liam, you will be reaching under your chair. And you're going to be discovering a bag under your chair. And in that bag is a variety of objects. You're going to pull it out randomly, and you're going to be gifting. Well, do you want to receive the gift or give the gift? I'll give you that.
I can give the gift. It's under my chair, right?
Give the gift. All right. So Liam is going to go under his chair, and he's going to find some random props. If you want to shake the bag a little bit, you can. Nothing's particularly fragile. It's a pretty cool bag. All right, Liam is pulling something out of the bag. Oh, my gosh. Wow. What a gift that is. What a gift. All right. And I'm going to give us a relationship real quick. Just, something to help inform our scene, and then we'll go ahead and jump in. All right. So this is Bad Gift. We are band members. Scene.
Hey, Steve. I got you this gift.
What's up, Antonio?
It's a hat for...
Oh, my gosh. Antonio, you got me a hat for my 30th birthday?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. You can take it.
I'll take it. Yeah, this is a hat you got me, but so I'm trying to be enthusiastic about this, but this hat sucks.
What do you mean? It's a hat.
This hat sucks.
It's a little party hat. That's your gift.
Party hat, Antonio. You know I hate celebrating my birthday. And you have literally done the most insulting thing to me by giving me this stupid hat right here. This cylindrical, conical hat.
Well, I didn't think it was stupid. Now you're saying my gifts are stupid? I'm just trying to be a good friend. I didn't do a blowout party. It's not like on stage last night I said, "Oh, it's Steve's birthday tomorrow. Everyone show me your bare chests." I didn't do that this year.
You're right. You didn't do that, and I appreciate it. But you've given me a burden. You've handed me a burden because now we're gonna come to band practice tomorrow, and you're gonna be expecting me to wear this hat.
Of course.
And if I don't wear this hat, you're gonna pester me with questions.
Where's the hat?
Where's the hat?
Where's the hat?
And I can't handle that for the rest of my life, for the rest of our band's tenure, before we make 4 platinum albums and break up. You've burdened me to wear this silly, ridiculous, conical hat. And frankly, Antonio, it's as if you've put a curse upon my family. Because now I have to remember my birthday. I have to wear this hat. Otherwise, I'll make you feel bad. There's just... I can't handle all this responsibility.
Okay, fine. Don't wear the hat. No, don't wear oh, no. Fuck me, I guess. Don't wear the hat.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Antonio. I know you probably spent at least $10 on this hat, which I know was a lot for you. because you're between jobs right now. You got let go of the Froyo place.
Don't. Of course. Now you're going to remind me of Frozy Yosies.
Okay, I'm sorry. I just wanted you to put you on my level because I'm suffering right now, so I want you to suffer a little bit too. All right. So I'm sorry. You're right. I shouldn't have brought up your unexpected firing from Frozy Yosies.
Do you think two-man banjo band Joe should break up?
Blackout. All right, very nice, very nice, very nice. I'm gonna go ahead and just set this down right here. I love that hat. Wow.
They implied that they would play shows, but I guess they're just doing covers.
Yeah,
right. That's how it always goes. Like, we'll be a cover band at first. We'll write our own stuff.
And then, we'll develop in the background, and then eventually we'll slip in some of our songs, and someone will be like, "What song was that? Play it again." There'll be some, like Tom Hanks-esque character at the show, of course. Hey, kid, say, I really like that single. You want to come in and make some 45s?
That is another character that I love.
Oh, yeah.
Just the like big, they're like the big, like I found a new talent.
Yeah,
from the 60s type.
And they might be scummy, they might not be.
Yes. They're always kind of a bad guy.
Yeah. You seen that movie, That Thing You Do? Mm-mm. Oh man, there's a great couple of those characters. He lives in like a trailer, and they're like he brings the band in, and he makes them like chili on his trailer stove. Oh, it's a great movie, classic Tom Hanks '90s movie. It's got Liv Tyler's in it. Steve Zahn. I know you're a big Steve Zahn fan.
That's a close to another character that's like in that what's like connected is like a lawyer, like the scummy lawyer. Like I love playing like a kind of Saul Goodman-esque, like you burst in as like a third person. Whenever someone's about to get in trouble in a scene, it's like a fun game.
You busted. Hold it right there.
My client. You always start talking for them. Yep. My client's not going to say another word.
Yeah. Shut up.
Put that Jello down.
You don't want the donut.
Yeah, my client.
Yeah. That's oh man. Yeah, lawyers are out of control. All right, moving into our second game, we're gonna play a few of these, and then yeah. So this next one, this might be a game you've never played before. I'm not sure, so we'll go over it. This one's called Old Job, New Job. So you, Liam, are coming in. Well, you might not be Liam. You might be someone else. You're coming in for a job interview today. I will be interviewing you for a position, which we don't know what it is yet. We'll find out. And what I'll be doing is that I'll be asking you some job interview questions, and I'll be going over your resume. And on your resume, I will be naming off some random jobs that you have had in the past. And you're going to use what you know of those old jobs to help justify you being hired for this new job. So we might have to juggle a couple jobs here in our head. But essentially, it's a job interview. You just don't entirely know what you've done yet in the past. But you're going to find out. All right. You are applying to work at a bike store. And we're going to go with bicycles here, just to clarify. A bicycle store. All right. So you want to work at a bicycle store. And let's just say you want to be like a clerk, like a cashier at the bicycle store. And that's all you're going to get. You'll come in. Take it from there.
Cool.
All right. Thank you so much for coming to the interview. We've been looking to hire someone for this cashier position here at Bob's Bikes. And, I looked over your resume. You seem like a really qualified guy. Yeah,
I'm pretty qualified. I've done a lot of stuff in the past, and now I'm ready to be a clerk here.
Yeah, one thing I thought that made you such an interesting candidate is you had the variety of jobs you've had in the past. So I'd like to ask you a couple questions about them, if that's okay.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, all right. And it was Thomas Finkelstein, correct?
Thomas Finkelstein the third.
The third. Oh, my apologies. I brought in a lot of people for this job, so it's a lot of names to remember.
You brought in a lot of people for a bike clerk job?
In this economy, a lot of people are big on bike selling these days.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. It's I'm going to be honest, Thomas Finkelstein III. This is a pretty popular position, so I'm hoping you got what it takes.
Okay.
We here at Bob's Bikes only hire the best of the best because it's Bob's Bikes. Yeah.
It's Bob's Bikes.
Yeah, we've got a 4.7 rating on Yelp, so we take our stuff pretty seriously.
Wow.
Yeah. And just to clarify, I don't know if you remember from my voicemail that I left, but my name is Carl. I'm the manager here at Bob's Bikes. Bob is my uncle, and, he's kind of put me in a managerial position here.
You're the man. Does Bob still I'm just curious about. Sorry, this is probably off topic.
No,
for our
it's all right. A lot
interview.
of people wonder that. Bob is still kicking. He's riding bikes is a little hard for him these days. Due to incontinence issues. But Bob's still around.
Oh, that's cool. I love stores that have a name.
Yeah, a history to them. I appreciate that about you, Thomas. Thomas Finkelstein III.
Yeah, you don't have to say my full name every time. You can just call me Thomas.
Okay. All right. I'll do that, Thomas Finkelstein III.
Okay.
All right. So here we go. I'm taking a look at your resume, and the first job I had a question about is that you worked at a tech startup here called FinTech. Can you tell me about your time at FinTech, Thomas?
Oh, yeah. We were trying to help disabled dolphins by 3D printing fins.
Wow.
And we'd attach them back on and they'd swim away. We got some seed funding from Sequoia. They gave us like 150 mil on a 2.5 bill valuation.
Oh, my goodness.
Things are going well, but then SoftBank came in and they blew up our valuation. It became bad. They gave us another 100. They gave us 200 mil at a $60 billion valuation. We were pre-revenue.
Wow. That's incredible.
We went out of business.
I think I saw some tweets about FinTech. I remember.
Those rumors about us cutting off dolphin fins in order to make our market larger are not true.
Okay. Good. All right. I appreciate you clarifying because that was actually going to be my next question. So it's, it puts me at ease a little bit that I'm not bringing in a dolphin killer to work at Bob's Bikes.
No, I would never. We didn't kill dolphins.
Oh, okay. Well,
we
good.
severely maimed them.
That's okay. Well, that I'm all right with. Here at Bob's Bikes, we do have a very anti-dolphin murder stance, but there's no official policy on dolphin maiming. Yeah. So thank you for clarifying there. And, sorry to hear that the startup went under.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough. I've thrown around a few coins in my day at some startups. So
you're a certified investor?
Yeah, I'm kind of a VC myself.
And you're here at this bike shop?
Yeah, well, sometimes those investments don't always go as hoped. But luckily, my dear old Uncle Bob was willing to give good old Carl a managerial position here.
Ooh.
Yeah. All right. Well, anyway, continuing down the resume, Thomas, let's see. Oh, I see here that you worked at a morgue. And that was right after your time at FinTech. You worked at a morgue. Tell me about your time at the morgue.
Oh, yeah, it was good. I saw a lot of bodies.
Wow. I believe it.
Yeah, what they'd make me do is I was the one that would take all the pictures before they buried them. For some reason, there's a picture of every dead body on the morgue computer.
Oh, so what were some of your responsibilities there? You took pictures of bodies and
I made lunch.
Lunch, that's good.
We had a small kitchenette, and I'd make lunch for all the morgue workers.
Okay, what kind of lunches would you make there?
Burgers.
Burgers. Okay, we like burgers here at Bob's Bikes. You grill a good turkey burger?
Oh yeah, turkey, beef.
Okay,
various meats.
Trying to watch my cholesterol, so I'm going for some of the leaner meats lately. Carl likes a burger, but my doctor says I need to watch out for my heart. So that's good to know. You make a mean turkey burger.
Does your uncle also have a place called Bob's Burgers?
I don't find animated television amusing.
Oh.
So
sorry.
I'd prefer if you wouldn't bring up such shenanigans in the workplace.
No, you're right.
Just something to note, Thomas Finkelstein III.
It was inappropriate.
Yes, I think animation is childish and trivial. Just a little fun fact about me. Thomas, are you kind of a conspiracy theory guy?
A little bit. Not crazy into it.
All right. Well, that won't worry me too much.
I don't think anyone who's into conspiracy theories says they're into conspiracy theories, right? Because for them, they're not conspiracy theories.
Thomas, that's a good point. I never thought of it like that. But that could also be a conspiracy theory about people who have conspiracy theories.
Oh, wait a minute. You're right.
Yeah.
So do I have the job?
Well, Thomas, you're an interesting guy, Thomas Finkelstein III. And, I'd like to hire you because you really sold me on those turkey burgers. So I'm just gonna, we'll run your background check, have you go.
Don't do that.
Oh,
No, don't run the background check. I'm fine.
okay. I've just, most of our employees have had no problem with running the background check. It's a pretty standard.
Well, you won't find anything. It's a waste of $35.99.
Oh, that's true. I do like to save money where I can, and I know good old Uncle Bob appreciates that. So, tell you what, Thomas Finkelstein III, we won't worry about that background check. I'll have you come in tomorrow for your orientation.
Yes!
All right. Thank you so much, Thomas.
Yes!
Welcome to the club. Blackout. Wow. What a Thomas Finkelstein. Sheesh. All right. That's what a guy. I would hire him. He's got such a
I wouldn't hire him,
No?
but he does seem like someone who would work at a bike shop.
Oh yeah, definitely. Is just such a what a diverse career path you had. All right. Well, I've got one more game for you, Liam. And this game, this might be one you played as well. This game is called The Actor's Nightmare. And you're the actor, and we're about to give you a nightmare. So in this game, we are going to perform a two-person scene. I'll give us a location to kind of help get us started. But in this scene, you will be pulling out a play, which is located underneath your chair right now. And you will be able to use any line that is on those 2 pages, I believe it's 84 and 85, to help you in this scene. And you're going to throw those lines out there, and we'll have to do our best to justify them. So the play that we're using is Ken Ludwig's, I think, Lend Me a Tenor. It's a classic farce comedy. Great show. Can't wait to see what lines we're going to be pulling up here. All right. So any questions for me before we jump in?
Yeah, got it.
All right. So let's go ahead and find a location. Ooh. So our location for this scene is a spaceship. Again, this game is called Actor's Nightmare. Liam has 2 pages worth of lines he can pull from for this scene. Here we go. Captain, I finished checking the oxygen tanks. Everything's good to go, sir.
Perhaps I'll take a bubble bath. Then you can join me.
Sir. My, that's very forward of you, but tell you what, after I finish my duties in the meal hall, I'll slip into that bathtub. Thank you, Captain.
I won't be long.
Oh, I don't mind a man who's quick in the bathtub. I would say I'm not known for my stamina, so that works for me as well.
Will you cut that phony accent? I'm not amused.
Sorry, Captain. I just...
Is there a woman here?
No, Captain. No, Captain. You sent all the women to the west wing of the spaceship. You sent them away so that they could tend to their duties on that side,
The bathroom?
The bathroom, yes, of course. Yes, there was a bit of nasty business splashed up on there.
The bathroom? Are you crazy? What about the body?
Captain.
The body.
Oh my goodness, Captain. You were storing that body in there, that crew member, Jenkins, that you hated. I forgot. You murdered him in cold blood and asked me to stash Jenkins' body in the bathroom. We'll have to tell those women to stop. Oh dear. You should have had me clean the bathroom, Captain.
Look, I would be the first to admit that you deserve a little reward for all you've been through.
Well, that's why we're going to be in the bubble bath later, Captain.
But it's not the time.
Blackout! All right. Very nice. Very nice.
This game is hard.
Yeah.
It's fun.
I mean,
that's hard.
This is a fun selection of pages, I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah. I liked, those were some fun lines for a spaceship setting.
Yeah.
All right. Well, with that said, thank you again so much to Liam for coming on Improv for the podcast. It was a pleasure talking to you today, just talking about all things improv theory, really digging into that. And I mean, your experience in high school, college, and what you hope to do next. Do you have any last words of wisdom you want to leave us with, Liam, today?
No, I think I used all my quippy lines earlier.
And they were well used indeed. Indeed. Well, thank you again to Liam for joining us. We'll be back next week with another episode. Thank you for tuning into Improv for the podcast. We'll see you next time. Improv for the podcast was created by Matt Moore and Michael Lee Evans. Edited and produced by Michael Lee Evans. And finally, presented by Improv for the People. Interested in more IFTP? You can visit us at improvforthepeople.com or on our socials, such as Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube. Remember, new episodes are released weekly. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next time.